and welcome to the Omen Path podcast. Dom, it's been a long time. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, great. Yeah, we've both been on holiday and been doing other stuff, so it's been hard to get together, but here we are.
It has been. There also, the one time when we felt like we could have got together, not really a massive amount was going on, so we kind of made a bit of a decision not to, and then we both got busy. But hey-ho, we're back and we're ready to rock and roll. We've also got ourselves a very, very handsome guest looking on here. Luke from the Shattergang. How you doing, my friend?
I am fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
No, anytime. It's been a long time coming, and I still need to tap up Dean to jump on as well, because I've been meaning to have you guys on well, it's been far too long. It's been embarrassingly too long, but we're so glad you could step in, and looking forward to chewing the fat and talking about Magic the Gathering. There's lots to talk about, and I think there's going to be lots of cloud shouted at. We've already been chatting about this for far too long before we started recording, but anyway, so Luke, obviously one part of the Shattergang, also now 1/4 of the Shattergang. And he said one
quarter, yes. Yeah. We decided this year that we were missing something, fourth member. So we looked local. Some people turned us down, and then we settled on Ben. Really thought that you'd have to pay him, which is great, and he's just down the road, so you can just grab him if he needs. And he's good at carrying things.
Oh, is he?
Which is really important when you go to cons and that. So he's almost like a prospect and like a biker gang. He's going to work his way up to full-fledged Shattergang membership. But
I love this. I love this.
But no, it's great, and I get to stream and play Magic with two of my best friends and my brother, which I got on really well with. So yeah, it's worked out great for us.
Amazing, fantastic. So I'm obviously looking forward to seeing more from you guys coming up. What have you got in the pipeline? So I know obviously you had a little stream hiatus, but what's in the pipeline? What's coming up?
Yeah, we did. I mean, you know yourself, you're doing content quite a lot, and you're doing like a stream, trying to fit it all in. It just got a bit much for all of us, so we decided collectively to take a break, and we're focusing on what we enjoy doing. So we love doing the stream, but we also love just sitting down and playing Magic with just the four of us. So that's what we're doing now. We're still doing the podcast, which is usually a couple hours of rambling and contentious opinions, usually infighting about what should be a game changer and what isn't.
Sounds familiar.
Sounds very familiar.
Cradle is definitely not a game changer. That wasn't said by me. Oh, maybe it was. So we're doing the podcast, which is great. We're doing a monthly game at our local LGS. Highlander have allowed us to use a space, so that'll be coming out shortly. The video's being edited and things, so that'll be really good. We're actually streaming this Thursday, so that'll be the first stream since we took a break. So whenever this goes out, we'll but yeah, so that'll be really good. Awesome. And we are doing a spell table game, and we decided the spell table game is quite good because obviously the stream is it's fixed. So trying to get people's availability. With spell table, you can say, "Do you want to come on?" We'll just record it on spell table, and then we can just release it pretty much almost. So yeah, no, lots of exciting stuff. We're looking forward. I think we may be able to make an appearance at the Command Fest in September, so that'll be really good.
Excellent.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Dean's unavailable, but I think Ben and Barry and myself. So you'll get three of us. But yeah, things are good for Shattergang. We're in a good place.
Sounds like you need a fourth for that event with a glorious beard.
Well, the good thing is you wouldn't have to choose between us, because unfortunately I can't make Command Fest.
What?
Oh, dear.
No. Yeah, I will be over in Atlanta at the same time. So
for Magic Con.
I can't make England's Command because I'll be in America.
Hey, look, all I'm saying is I'd already committed to this before there was a discussion about dates. I mean, I was very lucky and privileged to have an idea of dates before it was even announced, and straight off the bat, it's like amazing. I will push it because I love these events, and I know things that's going on behind the scenes, and it sounds incredible. I'm gutted. I'm going to do it. I know they've announced, as of recording, they have announced their venue, which is going to be the Birmingham NEC. Which is going to be, which is great. It's fantastic. I think it's easily accessible. They've got plenty of space. I think it's going to be really, really good. And they've got so many plans. It's going to be great. I am a little bit gutted, but equally, I love Magicons, and I have thoroughly enjoyed Magicons, well, particularly abroad and the stateside one. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So that will be very, very good. So, Luke, right, we've got you by yourself. Baz isn't here, so come on, dish some dirt. Is he really? Because he's lovely. Baz is lovely, but behind closed doors, is he really like? Is he like give you the backhand and that sort of stuff? Like,
I mean, I don't want to talk ill.
you can wink. It's fine. You can wink instead of answering. It's fine. We get it. Yeah.
He's an absolute tyrant. He rules the Iron Fist.
I have seen at events. I've seen both you and Dean have been walking close by. I've seen the look he gives you, and I've seen the quick recall as if like, sorry, sir, sorry, master.
Yeah, no, it's a bit like that. I mean, he cheats. His opening hand is always pre-cultivated. Just what he does. He'll do whatever it takes to win. We love you.
Yeah, Baz. We're joking, Baz. Yeah, we love you to bits. Absolutely, I love Baz. I think he's fantastic, and I love when we all get to meet together. It's absolutely fantastic. It's part of the beauty of the Magicons and the Command Fest. It's just truly amazing. Fantastic. Well, look, I'm thoroughly looking forward to what's coming up later on. I do apologize if you can hear a dog in the background. I have a new puppy that's currently whining at me. Yes. Anyway. Okay. So we've got a few things we're going to discuss today. And first up, we're going to be talking about the new set of Edge of Eternities. So, Dom, let's start off with yourself. What's been your thoughts so far? What's been your experiences so far? I know you didn't do a pre-release, but talk to us about Edge of Eternity, man.
Yeah, I think this set, it's got echoes of the unset that came out, hasn't it? In terms of the visuals, they did those beautiful like planet shot glands and stuff for that.
Galaxy foils as well,
and yeah, they pulled that through into this set, and some of the lands and the full art lands are just incredible.
Yeah.
A lot of the artwork's just very cool. And because of where it's set at the edge of the Blind Eternities, you've got Return of Eldrazi, there's some little sliver stuff in there. And yeah, it's good to see some of those old, familiar fan favorite creature types making a return. But you've also got the addition of spaceships, which is incredible. They can now be your commander, which is a big change. So legendary vehicles and spaceships can be your commander.
Yep.
There isn't really any good vehicles that could be your commander except Shurikai, who is probably the best who could already be your commander, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a couple of ones in Is It, I guess could be viable. Yeah, but the spaceships are the main thing. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone ends up using them. Both the precons, the face commanders are spaceships.
Yep.
Which is quite interesting as well.
Yep. No, they're pretty good. Luke, what about yourself?
Yeah, similar to what Dom said. I mean, the art has to grab me for a set. Like, I'll be honest, I don't really read. I used to read about the lore, I used to really be into it back in like the Ixalan days and things. But now, just the artwork, and I love the kind of sci-fi poster effect cards as well for the bonus sheet. I thought they were really cool. Some good reprints as well, things like Paradox Haze, Green Sun Zenith, things like that. So that was always good to see. The full art foil lands and things are fantastic. Like Ancient Tomb looks incredible.
Yeah.
Even lands that aren't that good, like Celestial Colonnade and things, they still look.
They look great, don't they? Yeah.
I really like the legendary vehicle mechanic with the spaceships. I'm definitely going to build something with one because I just think it's different.
Yeah.
But I'm just deciding which one to build because I usually build 2 sets behind because I'm so far behind. So I've not picked up any of the precons or anything, but no, I think they look really cool. I was messing about with how to try and make a Titanic deck work, the legendary red from Doctor Who. Because you could play it, like sacrifice it, and then try and get out your graveyard and get the treasures.
I saw this.
That could be fun.
I saw this a month or so ago, or just after they announced it. I saw someone had popped something up about, do you reckon this would work? And it was Titanic, and it was another card, and it was one of those things you're like, this is disgusting. Like, it was just horrific. It was like, wow. And I was like, that sounds like a really good thing. I was like, I'm pretty certain someone somewhere is currently sitting there brewing this nasty, horrible thing up. But I don't blame you. Like, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Pushing the boundaries.
But yeah, I mean, and I think the Jackdaw as well. I think it is. Is it ship from Assassin's Creed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Or there's another one from Ixalan as well, and they do cool stuff. If you attack with a pirate, it loots or something. So yeah, I like how your commander can be like an inanimate object that is then fueled by the creatures rather than a creature that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the deck. So I think that's quite cool as well. And also, it's harder to remove,
It
which I
is.
think is relevant.
Yeah,
definitely these days, I think.
yeah. I mean, there is. We've been saying this pod for pretty much since day dot. There is a severe lack of removal particularly in commander decks. But artifacts and enchantments is massive. So hopefully this may change people to be like, I'm going to put a couple of bits more of artifact removal in there. Like, it's a big thing.
I mean, how often do you play the game where an enchantment is just taken over because you're in like red and black and you can't deal with it, and they're just getting value, and you're depending on the green player at the pod or the white player, and all they've got is I've only got Path to Exile or Sword to Plowshares. It's like, that's not going to help us.
It is difficult as well. Obviously, card spots are tight in commander decks or certain commander decks. So I do get it and understand it, but a solid removal package is definitely one thing. Just come back to what you were saying about Gaia's Cradle earlier. Honestly, there has to be a piece of land removal or land destruction in every single one of my decks. At least one, if not two. Something that doubles up as because of lands like that, because they're very powerful and they can run away with it, and there is obviously still a stigma about destroying people's lands, that sort of stuff. But those sort of words, they're fair game, man. Like, if you don't destroy someone's Gaia's Cradle, they are getting such an advantage. It's incredible.
Yeah. Huge.
If I had an opportunity,
yeah, I was going to say there is obviously within this set is the cycle of legendary lands where one of them has the Gaia's Cradle effect. If you've built up the,
you've got the blue version. You've got the blue version as well, haven't you?
Oh, the Talair, the
Tolarian Academy.
Another one you mean? I think it is that one. Yeah.
Notably banned in Commander.
Yeah.
Tolarian Academy.
I mean, you have to jump for a few more hoops. I would say that you got to jump through a few more hoops, but those hoops are, they're knee high instead of proper jumps. Do you know what I mean? Let's be honest. Throughout the game, you're gonna have, stuff that you can just commit to. Oh well, I'll just tap this 2/2 and just add the counters. So like, within.
I regret banning it because there's Storm the Vault as well, which can also flip into effectively a Tolarian Academy without too much difficulty just by having a few artifacts, right? So
yeah.
Let's just unban it.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you. I personally am of the opinion that there should be more, as many of the cards. The banned cards should be a minimal. To me, I do believe that, and I think as the power creep continues to go up, you know what? Maybe it will become unbanned at some point. It might not be a popular one, but it might get to that point when people are like, yeah, well, this is fine because we've already got this in this land, this artifact, blah 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 blah. Do you know what I mean? We may get there eventually. Who knows? I echo a lot of what you both have already said. I really was quite. This is the set. Other than Tarkir, this is also the other set that's really made me be like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Like, it's familiar. This is
it's in universe, although it's got a sci-fi bent, hasn't it? It is still part of the Magic universe. You've got characters like Tezzeret who have popped up.
Yeah. I mean, and I just kind of want to bring this point up as well, because I think like a good year ago or something like that, we may have discussed this on the pod, but I know it's certainly been discussed in the wild, that there was this concern of, well, Magic the Gathering isn't really sci-fi, so to have a sci-fi set, but actually, once we started to see it, well, I suppose there was an argument for that as well.
Power suits and big robots, right?
Yeah.
I know. I appreciate that.
It was high fantasy. Instead of nuclear reactor, it was a gemstone that powered all your sci-fi stuff. But it was originally, it had that leaning.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. But I also before this set wouldn't, if someone sort of said to me, "Is Magic the Gathering a sci-fi themed card game?" I would definitely go, absolutely not. So, do you know what I mean? we go with what we've currently got there. But what I would arguably say is once we started to see the artwork, once we started to see the cards, actually it just felt like we were in a plane and the plane was in outer space. And do you know what?
Yeah.
You're dead right. There are nods towards the unsets. And I have to echo what you've been saying about the artwork. Like, some of it has been absolutely phenomenal. They've been fantastic. And generally, I think I know it's a standard set, so it's never going to be hot released, and we're sort of wedged between Final Fantasy and Spider Man, so it's never going to get the best release and the best reception, all that sort of stuff. But I think it's looked fantastic. I've watched a bit of standard play, and it has looked encouraging. Has it changed standard much? It's a bit too early to say that. We're sort of, what are we, 5 days after 4 or 5 days after pre-release, so it's still a bit very, very early for that. We've still got general release to come up and all that sort of stuff, but I'm enjoying some of it. And I'll tell you one thing I am really enjoying. I'm enjoying seeing cards from the current set that's not mega money, outside of the big chase cards like Ancient Tomb and that sort of stuff. I was looking at some of the cards, I was like, oh, these are going to be, so they're like the quote-unquote chase cards of the standard set, and I was like, these are going to be, what, 50, 60, blah, blah, blah. I was relieved to see that actually they weren't quite as much. You got stuff like Exalted Sunburn. You're looking about $26 at the minute, $26. You've got the land we were talking about. Is it Urof's Titanic God Core? It's $22.
Yeah,
that's the one that you can tap for artifacts. So look, this is
because the set's not actually out yet, is it? We just had the pre-release weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So that means that price is going to drop down a little bit more. You've obviously got the green version, which is effectively a guy's cradle. Like, do you know what I mean? There are solid cards here and some really solid reprints, and they're not mega money. So it's really nice to see that. I think it's quite refreshing, and I hope people see some of these cards and make good use of them, because not only is the price a bit lower, but artwork is really good, man. Like, seriously. I'm just looking at they've got like the nice version of the Strip Mine. I know obviously Strip Mine's a controversial card, but it's just great. It's simple, but it's just really, really nice.
Yes.
I don't think it's controversial, personally. I think
I just released Crucible of Worlds as part of one of the secret Lairs upgrade kits they're releasing.
Oh, well, we'll come on to those ones in a minute, because we will discuss that.
To bring your strip line back again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But,
talking about the price. Sorry.
Go on, but
talking about the prices.
Yeah.
Like Ancient Tomb and that. I mean, they were like £100 or £90 before, and now even the pre-release, you're talking half that. And Gemstone Caverns as well, high power cards that you play in all CEDH decks. So I think the reprints have been really good. So no, I agree with that.
Swan Song's another one.
It's just a short supply, right? Or it hasn't been reprinted for years and years. It just needs a reprint to bring that price down. It's not necessarily the power level of the card.
And again,
it's just a scarcity, right?
Yeah,
because it is power.
I think it filled the vacuum with Mana Crypt being banned, didn't it? It was the next go-to. It was like, okay, so I wasn't playing this before, but now my Mana Crypt's been banned. Like, oh, how else can I get that effect?
Right? Yeah.
I think it's just proven that, say, like I personally love like having guest cards in sets and stuff like that, because it gives them the opportunity to print these type of cards. And I know it's very easy to look at them as, well, that's the chase card, that's the cash cow just being milked a little bit more and that sort of stuff. But at least it drops these prices. Do you know what I mean? You've just said it, Luke. We're looking around £90 to £100 for an Ancient Tomb. We're now down to sort of 50. Now that may settle, that may raise back up, obviously with demand. That gives people an opportunity that if they went, oh well, I really wanted an Ancient Tomb for my X deck, but £100 was a bit too rich for me, or whatever it was. Now it's at an affordable price. Obviously, time will tell. We'll see how that changes. I'm sure it will go back up at some point in the next few months. It then just gives them an opportunity that another year down the line, we'll do another reprint. And I don't have a problem with that. Be some more art, some more individual art. But yeah, I think these have been absolutely fantastic. And generally, I don't think the power level is quite there, but it is generally, to me, it seems like it's been received quite nicely, and I'm glad of that, because the last thing you want is, I think, as a in-universe set just being completely pushed to one side. I know we're in the ages of Universes Beyond. And again, we're going to come onto this a little bit later, so I'm just going to touch on this point here. But it's nice to have it, and it seems to be engaging. And also the other thing as well, we're not really talking about the mechanics, but Warp seems really good. Warp seems really very enjoyable. For anyone who doesn't know, you've got Warp, and it said you may cast this card from your hand for its Warp cast. Exile this creature at the beginning of your end step, and you may cast it from exile later on in turn. I mean, it's great. Warp it in, do the thing. You can always cast it from exile later. Traditionally, Magic have always been very cautious about casting things from exile. And what I mean is like after it's kind of been used or it's kind of, been removed sort of thing. But I quite like Warp. I think, it's a bit like sort of, I quite liked Foretold. I mean, it wasn't broken, but it's a way that it could be like, I'm going to put, particularly as a control planet, I'm going to put my mana into making this cheaper further down the line. Don't you smirk, Luke? I know you're smirking at the control thing. But do you know what I mean? I kind of like that. It gives you some options. It's almost like, I'm not going to stand here and say it's a mana sink, but it gives you options. And I think cards that give you options are always fantastic to have. Do you know what I mean?
I think these are good. They're almost like modal card in that actually, if you can cast them for a little bit of mana if you need the effect right now, and then later on when you've got a bit more mana, then you can bring them in permanently. There's one like in white, I think, that doubles tokens. So actually, paying the warp cost and gaining that benefit immediately, and then being able to do other things that turn, rather than just blowing out all your mana on this creature and not getting.
So that's the Exalted Sunball. That's the one I'm currently looking at, which is fantastic to have. But also, it's important to note here that if a player warps that out and a removal spell is used on it, it will go to the graveyard, so you won't be able to play it. And even if they were to exile it, it's effectively almost in a different exile, so you wouldn't be able to warp, play it from exile. It's only it exiles the creature at the beginning of the next end step, and you may cast it from exile at a later turn. So it's almost like it's still going into exile, but it's almost going to like its little exile. So it doesn't make it broken or busted. It's not like, oh well, I'm gonna exile. I'm gonna Swords to Plowshare this thing. Oh great, it's now in exile, quote unquote. I can now warp it out. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, which is really good.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards that care about things being cast from exile as well.
There is that as well.
So,
yeah, exactly. I really enjoyed that, and I know there's been a couple other mechanics. We're not here to sort of go over all of them. I know obviously Landfall's back a little bit. Big fan of Landfall, and we've got some other bits and bobs. But generally, I think there's some good cards here, some nice, powerful cards, and some fantastic reprints. Like, me personally, I've enjoyed it. It's one that's got me a bit more excited about Magic the Gathering, and particularly sort of like the standardy sets a little bit more. I'm looking forward to it settling down and see where we set down. But yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Also, another thing, nice to see Shocklands come back in.
Yeah, that's really good.
Big fan of Shocklands.
Reprint them to death.
And reprint them as well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, many a time we've had this sort of discussion about sort of reprints. The Fetchers was the classic. Back in the day, they were big money. Even Shocklands were. My first standard sets were Shock. We saw Shocklands, and they were expensive. Thankfully, they're now down to a lot more affordable price. So the more they reprint them, the better these are going to be. So I'm very glad of all these sort of things, and we just need the other half of the Shocklands to be released, and then we'll be off to the races. Hey, boys.
We will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't they just have the other half though in Duskborn?
Oh, was it Duskborn they had them in? Was it?
They had the the murder, the Cluedo set, which had the Shocklands as part of it.
Karlov Manor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, not Duskborn.
Yeah. They were. I think that was a little bit different. I think those were just reprints, but I suspect
new art, weren't they?
Yeah, that's right. We'll get the other half. I can't remember if these are the allied or the enemy ones, but we'll get the other half in a future standard set. I don't know if it will be Spider-Man or whether it will be Last Airbender, but I suspect we'll probably get the other half incoming quite soon. They normally do it quite quickly after one another, don't they? It's normally within a set or so. Yeah, I mean, look, we could talk about notable cards, but I think, at the end of the day, I think it's nice to see. We've spoken sort of about the Shocklands and obviously, the nice mechanics and reprints. I feel like we could probably sort of move on from this, but
yeah,
I definitely do.
The only thing I would say is that I quite like the fact they're playing around with giving life gain some payoff in this set.
Yeah, Yeah.
So there's like if you've gained 3 life, you get to draw a card, and there's a blue-white card that you can mill cards equal to your life value. So it's life gain historically has just been a waste of time, right? Especially
Just
in
living
Commander where
forever.
someone kills you, the damage anyway. But actually giving it some kind of payoff is quite good.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think life gain is quite powerful. The one thing I would say is life gain very quickly can make you the target. When people go, oh, hold on, this person's gaming 15 to 20 life per turn, but that's where the level of commander damage is. So, that one swings and roundabouts. But you are right. It is nice to have payoffs for it. And, it's not like, you're having to gain 3 life to draw a card. I believe the stipulation with that is once per turn, if I remember rightly, which is, it keeps things in check. So it can't just be absolutely wild. You know what I mean? You're not just getting increments.
Yeah, I think if you do start seeing some spaceships and stuff as commanders, it will be harder to kill people with commander damage as well. If you've got to tap 20 power, say, to turn your spaceship into a creature, right, then it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, it is. Again, it's more hoops to jump through. But most of these are pretty sure they've got most of them have got flying, so there's your form of evasion. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not sort of saying it's broken or busted, but again, there are options there. Hopefully, some more removal will be introduced, or we'll be put removal in. It'll keep everything in check. It's kind of that's coming from playing sort of like high level EDH and CDH. I just think it needs to be more. You need to be more interactive with other people's decks. Otherwise, people just run away with it. 100% do. Okay, let's talk about what I believe is one of Magic's faux pas, which is the release of the previews of the latest set and the timings about it. I'll have a bit more of a rant about this towards the end of the podcast, but the next set that's coming up is the Marvel Spider-Man set. And what I'm sort of referring to is they decided to show these literally before the pre-release of Edge of Eternities.
You kind of put the balloon there a little bit, haven't you? You've kind of taken the wind out of the sails of these solar spaceships.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting
all gunked up with Spider-Man's web.
Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks to Tarkir and Final Fantasy, unfortunately here, and I hope they can resolve.
To breathe, right?
I hope they can resolve this issue, because it does feel. I appreciate it was MagicCon, Comic-Con. Those dates are out of their control. I do understand that, but it does feel like. And again, we'll probably talk about this more towards the end, but it does feel like if it's just one thing after another and it's continuous and it's build and it's build and it's build. Anyway, we'll touch on that towards the end. But Spider-Man, okay. Luke, first of all, what are your thoughts on the Spider-Man set? Are you looking forward to this? Is this one that you're quite happy to miss? What are your thoughts?
I'm a big fan of Spider-Man. I used to watch the cartoon and things, so I have a lot of love and time for Spider-Man. But I feel we're possibly crossing with some of the character design and cards that we're just crossing a bit too much to the real world, and I think that kind of disengages me from it. Like there's a card called Taxi Driver and Honest Police Chief or something, and I think it's maybe too much of a stretch. But I've also seen the cards, and I don't think, from what I've seen so far, I've not been that impressed. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the Bant Spider-Man that flips over looks absolutely broken. I think that's going to be the absolute powerhouse of the set. I think the Mono Black Venom looks fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, not really. Yeah. I didn't see it and think, oh, Spider-Man. But I probably felt the same way with Marvel as well. Marvel Secret Lair, despite seeing all the Avenger movies and being a fan of Marvel, just didn't captivate me. I just felt...
I think it's an interesting decision that a lot of the cards they've shown look like they're lower power because the majority of them are from the welcome decks. So these are the decks that you go into your LGS, you get them for free,
that's cool.
And you can play and teach someone, and you get to take those cards away from me. So in terms of new player engagement, brilliant. And yeah, a lot of these cards, you'll be able to go to your LGS, take someone new, get a couple of these decks and play with these cards and take them away for free. So yeah, I think it's really interesting they chose to just show all those cards because they are deliberately of a lower power level than I would guess a lot of the cards from the main set are going to be.
Yep. I mean, I think they're not gonna look. If there's one thing we know about preview season is they like to give a little bit of a taster. They like to sort of wet the palate. Then they tend to sort of bring some more of the core stuff in. A bit more of the chaff then starts to come through, and then the bombs start to sort of intermittently pop through as well. So Dom's probably dead right here. I think what we're probably seeing is we're probably seeing an interesting level, but I think probably a little bit more of the lower level. And then when preview comes in, that's when we'll start to see the haymakers will start to come in, and it's very, very interesting. The one thing I have noticed quite much here is the art style. To me, is very. There's lots of different styles in this. I probably said on the podcast. I definitely said to Dom a while back. Is when we first were speaking about Marvel, and we were talking about it being Marvel, like comics, not Marvel films. So which I thought was a positive, not a negative. Yeah. And the one thing I did say is if they'd done like the original comic book style art, the really old school sort of stuff, I would have been really, really happy with. And it's nice to see that they have got a couple of examples of that. So there's a card called Origins of Spider Man, which is basically it's an enchantment saga. And it is that sort of that older flavor, older feel. I actually personally want them to lead into that older art style a lot heavier.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to sort of see like the classic Amazing Spider-Man style. I know there's probably going to be a bit. They probably can't quite go that far because they'll be impeding on intellectual property from that. But I would really like them to lean into that a little bit more. But I do kind of agree. I agree with you, Luke. Here, I feel like we are we're close to stepping into the realms of we are now having like real life things / items in the universe of Magic the Gathering, and I'm a little concerned about that. I know obviously when we had things like Nuka Penna, we were talking about sort of like whether there be guns or that sort of stuff, and I know there were like Tommy gun-esque more so than anything. And I'm kind of hoping we see a bit more of that, more so than, like you sort of said, the taxi drivers or that sort of stuff. I'm prepared to watch this unravel a little bit and see what happens. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't. I am the same as you, Luke. I do like Spider-Man. I'm not I'm not a mega fan. This isn't the set for me, really, but I am interested to see what they do with it. I'm interested to see some of the cards. Find it really interesting that we have got standard legal Universes Beyond sets, and it's obviously going to become
not originally designed as such as well. So
no.
It's throwing some curveballs in there for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I think in terms of what you guys are saying about the reality coming through, it was something that didn't quite resonate with the audience with Duskmourn as well. We had this kind of horror set, but actually then he had a cheerleader doing a backflip as well, which kind of
I forgot.
It was a little bit jarring in that regard.
So we would. Yeah. I'll only touch on this because I don't want to. We've already ranted about this off pod, and I don't want to go back into this. But this leans back into what I was saying before we started, which was I have a frustration with series and films where you are in a universe and they like to talk or make a nod towards another franchise, another series, and I have a frustration with that because I don't want to be watching Dune when we're on Arrakis and then making references to Iron Man or anything like that. And they are very subtle, admittedly, and all that sort of stuff. We do seem to be going through that.
Are you talking about the Dune series, I guess? There's literally zero of that in any of the Dune movies.
No, I know, but I'm just using it as an example because that is completely different. Whereas the examples I was giving earlier, again, I won't rehash this, but the examples I was giving earlier, they are very, very subtle. But I find what it does is it takes you from the film and the story that you're currently watching or observing and just takes you to one side. So all I'm trying to say is I hope we don't start to have too much of that within the Magic the Gathering.
I think it stops what you've created being timeless in a way as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because you're making reference about modern day. Actually,
Yep.
if someone picks it up on Netflix in 10 years and watch it, say it's a series, they're not going to understand those references, right?
I agree.
And then they go, huh?
No.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
No, but you make a fantastic point there. Let's go something like Runaway Steam King, the artwork toward Runaway Steam King. I mean, that is just like fantasy or whatever, that sort of ilk of style. That doesn't matter whether that was 20, 30 years ago or 20, 30 years in the future. It's still going to be relevant and still within the ilk of what we're looking at right here, right now. A backflipping cheerleader, well, what happens if they, I don't know, next 10 years, cheerleading isn't a thing, and then in 10 years' time, it's like, well, what's this person with pom-poms? Like, you're dead right.
I'm sure it's going to be good. So
yeah, well, yeah. Of course.
Alex hoping that boilers don't reanimate and attack people.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I do like Runaway Steam King. That's the card.
It's a great card.
It is a great card. I watching that in standard. Like, so there were some of the earlier cards. I was like, oh, this is so good. Oof.
Oh,
good old
light up the stage. Runaway Steam King. Oh,
I'm not gonna say the good old days because that was a very heavy mono red era.
Yeah, welcome to modern Magic as well.
Well, yes, it's only
has never left.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Gods of Fairy ruined it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't cast spells at instant speed.
Oh, I love
mono red decks ruined.
I love that card. And I think that's part of where my love of Control comes from, because in that era, Control just wrecked that deck, and it was just amazing. And I loved it.
Wrecked everything.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. Just burn the world, burn it to the ground.
Do you think they're going to lean and do a complete Marvel set? Do we see that? Like you spoke about there, we've had the Secret Lair, we've had Spider-Man. Do you see a world where they do a complete Marvel set and we get Iron Man, Thor?
I think so. They've done Spider-Man. They will do an X-Men set, right? They will do an Avengers set.
Oh no, an X-Men set that might get me interested.
They'll do a X-Men versus Avengers set, right? They might do a heroes versus villain. There's so much possibility. It's literally decades of comics since before all of us were born by about
for sure
30 plus years. There's so much wealth of material they can draw on. I think it's almost limitless in what they can do.
It's going to turn into like the old fighting games, isn't it? Like X-Men versus Avengers versus Capcom.
Yeah, I can see them doing. They'll definitely have an X-Men set and an Avengers set, right? That people will want to see these characters, although obviously this is Marvel Comics, not movies.
Marvel Universe, yeah.
People want to see those characters because those characters have become so popular. No one cared who Iron Man was before the movies came out, right? In terms of comics, he wasn't hugely popular as a character until those movies came. But whereas now, actually, he's at the forefront, or was at the forefront of the Marvel Universe. And I think, he'll definitely get more cards.
I was totally on board with you until you mentioned one thing, which was I think it was X-Men versus Avengers, and all of a sudden I was just like,
a very famous series of comics.
I know, but all of a sudden that just right. I didn't read a massive amount of the X-Men comics when I was younger, but I had the original cartoon series, which was fantastic. Really enjoyed that sort of stuff. I like the Avengers, like that's fantastic. You've just hit a nerve with me, which is when you get these crossovers that they're just crossing over to like have a pop at each other. I'm not down with that.
They're all from the same universe.
It doesn't matter.
The X-Men have been part of the Avengers. Spider-Man's part of the Avengers.
That's only going to open the door to have Marvel versus DC, though, isn't it? Surely.
Well, Marvel won't agree to that, will they?
Or would they?
No, it would be Marvel DC.
Historically, there's been comic crossovers, but that's a tough
negotiation. Might get a Magneto card.
So you're crossing. So we're talking about crossing universes beyond with universes beyond within an IP that isn't. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that is.
That'll never happen because
I hope not.
The way that DC is, they keep them separate, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that won't happen. But X-Men vs Avengers, they all live in New York, right? Everyone lives in New York in Marvel Universe, so
it's a small place.
Interact. These characters have all been on the Avengers, so yeah, there's a lot of potential there. And I wouldn't say that's a crossover for the sake of crossover. It's just people from that same universe interacting. It's like Chandra showing up on Innistrad. It's no different.
No,
Spider-Man
make good
shows up
point.
because he's part of the Avengers. Who cares? It's totally different. You're clutching.
I disagree
You're
with you.
reaching here.
No,
You're gonna
I-
happen. He's got the pearls.
These are massive reaches here because they're all part of the same universe, right? They're all characters from that same universe that do interact.
We could have a.
You're talking about SpongeBob turning up.
Yeah, that's literally the point I was going to sort of say. You know, we're dangerously close to all sorts of shenanigans rocking up. I like
Maybe
universe.
the Monopoly guy is Hasbro owned by the Monopoly guy will turn up with the Transformers.
The Monopoly guy.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
You know, they could do a Monopoly set.
Individually, I don't have an issue. I feel like we're dangerous territory here for me. I feel like
I think that's totally separate to what they're doing with the Marvel stuff. They've kept Spider-Man self-contained.
Yep.
I'm almost certain they will keep X-Men as a thing first,
Good.
then Avengers as a thing.
Yeah.
But those two crossing over is not a problem.
Is it 2 years of Marvel we've got?
Yeah, I think so.
I can't remember
It's going to be
schedule.
something next year, right?
I think it's I'm pretty sure it was 2 years. I'm sure it was.
But yeah, there's so much potential here. There's hundreds and hundreds of characters. There's going to be fan favorite villains. You know, all of these cards will be legendary. You'll be able to have your favorite villain as your commander. I think it's going to bring in so many new players. It's obviously why it's interesting they've chosen not to do the commander precons with Spider-Man set.
I thought that.
I think it's because it was that smaller set initially, and then they've expanded it to become a standard release, right? So originally it was going to be one of the smaller sets like the Aftermath.
Yeah.
But they kind of changed course during the development, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's why they just didn't have any commander decks developed for it, because that was the nature of the set.
They've juggled things around. We were supposed to have, was it Lorwyn coming through, but they've pushed Lorwyn back and Spider-Man's coming to it. But
I could see them doing X-Men precon, Avengers precon. You could do like
You definitely could.
oh yeah, 100%. They will. That's
Sinister Six precon, right? Yeah, Spider-Man precon even.
Yeah,
because you could
Maybe
also
later
then
on, right?
reprint some of the mechanically exclusive secret layer cards as well.
yeah.
You could put them into the deck, couldn't you?
I think they've said that they will appear.
Yeah.
With presumably different artwork to there's the Marvel Secret Lair.
Good.
So you already had like Iron Man and a lot of the Avengers were there.
That's a good
Storm.
thing.
There's notably an X-Man as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah.
Those Avengers. So
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think that's a positive thing, because if there's one thing we'll talk about Secret Lairs in a minute, but I think if there's one positive thing is that obviously not everybody got the option to get these cards they wanted, but it gives people the opportunity to they may be a year and a half behind the curve or whatever, but it gives them the opportunity to get an inset one instead of feeling like, oh, I've really missed out on all that sort of stuff. Like
my Captain America deck kicks ass. Holy hell, it's a good card.
it's a little bit pushed.
Yeah. I found actually.
Imagine if that gets printed into standard.
Yeah,
Suddenly equipment becomes relevant.
I found
just going to throw Buster's sword everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. I have found actually that the Storm card that was heavily pushed. Actually, now I've played with it, I think is definitely better in the 99 than as the Commander, 100%.
It's because she has to connect with a player to get her effect, and she has she's got evasion, but she doesn't have any inbuilt protection, does she?
No, exactly.
And I hate to say, obviously it's Wizards' excuse every time, but dies to removal. But everyone's going to save it for her because that is the nature of the deck. Because they know if you connect with Storm, you're going to cast a spell and win the game, right? That's it's choreographed.
Yeah,
that was the issue I had with cards like Calamax, because you need to do the damage to double it or triple it or whatever, and it became so hard because as you said, like, we kill that.
Interest
7 mana to cast now, and
the same with Calamax. Good in the
you can tap him to start adding counters to your spaceships. Might be a spaceship Calamax build going on. I know a lot of people
like vehicles deck.
Yeah. Yeah, Galtovic, it's a classic. Oh, yeah. Doesn't take many Galta taps to crew a spacecraft, 20
Nope.
counters or not.
No, it does not.
No, it does
Exactly.
not.
No, it does not. Exactly. That'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting one. Looking forward. So okay. So this is our. So obviously, just to round this bit up, we're looking at a roundup. Sorry, we're looking at our first sort of touch of Marvel. Then, just like short and punchy. Dom, what are your thoughts so far of the looks of this?
It's going to bring a lot of new players in.
Yep. Luke.
I know. I probably personally know make half a dozen people who are going to start playing Magic that don't already because of the Spider-Man set. So.
Luke.
Yeah, it's a heavily established IP, and even if the cards aren't powerful in comparison to what we've had previously, I think a lot of players will gravitate towards it. I think people will pick it up because it's fun. I mean, not every Magic card has to be powerful or broken.
A
You
lot
can
of
just sit
collectors,
there
right,
and go,
will be.
yeah. But like for a laugh, you could do, or we'll do 4 different Spider-Men from the multiverse. And now someone's got Spider-Pig, someone's got this, someone's got that, and we'll just play a game. Because I think the mechanic just buffing spiders kind of limits it.
Yeah.
I know in Assassin's Creed they did free running, and then they changed it from assassin to assassin or your commander or something, didn't they? To kind of branch it out there.
Yeah. Was it assassins, rogues, and
Yeah, it was
I
something
think
like
they're
that.
right. Yeah.
something like that.
Whereas spiders is it's
Very specific.
Yeah, there are other spiders, obviously, in the sort of set, sets. But yeah, I know exactly what you're sort of saying. It is very, it's narrow, isn't it?
I'll tell you what though. Yeah, sorry. I was going to say Alex is not on board with the Spider Pig because he hasn't seen the multiverse movies, the Miles Morales movies. So he needs to go away. That's his homework before the next pod to watch those 2 movies because they are brilliant.
That's not why I'm down with it, and you know that's not why I'm down with it.
Yeah. He has it in The Simpsons as well, right?
This is the whole Grogu in Mandalorian thing. That's what I think this is. That's exactly what I think this is. It's a cheap wall.
You don't have any context. You don't know what you're talking about really,
wow.
until you've watched the movies.
Sure. Yeah.
And then you will appreciate that there is
casual.
dinosaur Spider-Man. It's just
yeah. I'm happy to watch it. I'm very open to these things. I know what's going to happen, though. I know I'll watch it.
Just brilliant.
The animation alone is worth watching. I mean,
I have
take the
seen
story aside, the animation is unreal.
Now I have seen parts of the animation, and it is very slick and it is very good.
Oh, it's so cool.
What they did with Spider-Punk as well. So it's like all these characters animated every 2 frames. He's like on every 3 frames, so it's like his movements are quite different.
Yeah,
it's just so brilliant. Anyone who hasn't watched them should definitely watch those 2 films. The third one's coming out in like 2027. It's been delayed a couple of years, but
that's a shame.
Yeah, brilliant films. They're the only good Spider-Man movies that Sony have done since for a long time.
Controversial.
I'm happy with Andrew Garfield. I'm just saying that all their recent stuff has just been the villains because they don't really have they haven't been using Spider-Man in their films, right? Which kind of makes them pointless.
Yes.
Whereas
I do agree with that.
These ones, very, very good.
Yeah.
I'll take my homework on board and I'll be done. I have been looking for something to watch by myself, actually. That'd be great. Sorry about that little interlude. Puppy needed to go out to the toilet and was starting to cry the house down. Bless her little heart. Okay, let's have a little discussion about Secret Lairs at the minute then. So one of the latest ones we've seen that's come through, which I think is referred to as the Chaos Vault, which is effectively an upgrade to the precons, the Edge of Eternity precons coming through. I've only really just managed to sort of like raise my eye over it. We were talking about this earlier, Dom, but what are your thoughts on this, Dom? Why don't you kick off with us? Tell us a little bit about it and what your thoughts on it is.
Yeah, so the Chaos Vault is like they release kind of random secret layers that they don't maybe have room for in like these summer mega drops that they do. So you've got little things coming through here and there, like certain artists. There's been some good stuff that's come through, but these ones in particular, they are like a set of 5 cards that are designed to go with the pre-constructed decks from this set, Edge of Eternities, and they're 5 cards that you can use to upgrade your deck, which they probably could have just put in the deck, but they want to upsell you. if I'm being cynical about it.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a very cynical view there, Dom. Very cynical, but
you can get them in foil.
I mean, you could already get a nice version of Crystal Worlds, and I think you could get a nice CERN Orb and that sort of stuff, can't you?
I mean, that's a good reprint, but I also think because these come bundled with the precon. I think they're only available in the US at the moment, I guess, because of shipping reasons. But I'm guessing they'll get rolled out to other regions at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But being able to get the precon at MSRP is a novelty for some people these days, right?
Yeah.
Because of the way that a lot of unscrupulous LGSs and or sites just end up gouging on the prices of particular precons. So actually buying it from Wizards Direct with a pre-5 cards that you can immediately use to upgrade it and bring it in line with, a little more competitive decks, I guess it might be a good thing. But you are literally taking sales away from LGSs at that point. It's like you go in, you buy your precon from your LGS, they go, oh, I want to upgrade this. Okay, I'll sell you some singles. Here's some ideas. You're taking that away from that experience, away from new players. And also, it's a trading card game at the end of the day. So it's like those upgrades could come from trading some of the cards that you've opened at pre-release or something with some of your friends or other people, which should come naturally. I don't think this is a good idea, honestly.
So just such interrupt there, because you made a really interesting point there. When was the last time you traded a card for a card or some cards for cards?
I think it was last Command Fest.
Luke?
I got stung on a trade, actually. I traded Dean, an opposition agent, because I pulled 2 for a Hull Breacher, and I thought, oh, that's great. Yeah, that'd be great in my Ned Mizzet deck. And then by the time the kind of pandemic and we could play in person, they banned it, hadn't they?
What a scumbag!
I know, and he probably knew that was going to happen as well, because he's better at forecasting than me.
He's obviously an agent on the inside of Wizards that told him it was going to get banned.
Dean, you should make this trade.
Yeah, exactly. Push it before it's going to get the old nudge, just to let you know. What a scumbag! Only joking, Dean. I think that's a really interesting point. Actually, it is a trading card game. Actually, I think most people move their cards on the card market now. And I know this one's a bit frowned upon, but I have heard and I know people that sell not within our LGS, because our LGS it basically say we don't want that on a site for obvious reasons. But basically, you can see people that looks like, oh, we're going to pop off for a drink and come back. They go to the local shop around the corner or something like that. Go grab a drink, maybe a sandwich or something, and come back. And the trade has already been done. So money's obviously exchanged hands. So it's funny how, why are we not trading so much more? Because at the end of the day, you can take value that you don't have, you're not going to use into cards you can do. I mean, it's in the name, isn't it? A trading card game. I mean, I've got loads of stories about Pokemon back in the day. I traded up into all sorts of stuff and I loved it. I loved getting into that nitty gritty of like, what about this for this? Well, I could do with a little bit more. Well, how about I sweeten the deal with this? Like, I used to love all of that, but we just don't do it anymore, do we? We trade for direct value.
Yeah, I think someone like you with no friends has no need to trade with, do they? But
hey, I know other control players. Behave.
I think you're underestimating like new players coming in. Kids who go and get these welcome decks, they're gonna trade all the time, right? That people like us who are in franchise, we want to get the maximum possible value for our cards, and also we have jobs. We don't have time to. You might not say you're playing on Spell Table or online, or because you can't meet people in person. It's actually an event like a Command Fest. That's a prime opportunity to meet with people and do some trading. I think it's just because of the modern world, and a lot of the audience magic are going to be the same. They might only see their friends and play in a pod, once a week maximum, right? For a lot of people, or every couple of weeks down the LGS. But they want that card tomorrow to play on Spell Table, so you've got to go to Card Market, or
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You make a fair point, but it was just more of a general sort of tongue in cheek. It's a trading card game, but yet we don't seem to trade as much. But you make the very valid modern day points, and I do completely understand that 100%. Do you think these cards? I mean, personally, I think these cards look like some pretty good, easy upgrades. Obviously, you got to figure out what you're taking out, what 5 you're taking out, what 5 you're putting back in. But I like the art stuff.
5 chaff cards that they put into the pre-con specifically to replace with these. They've obviously.
Oh, you're a cynical old goat, aren't you?
Dom's on it. He's on it.
Cynical old goat is our Dom here.
He's saying there's 5 cards in this deck that are bad. Here's 5 better ones. Effectively.
I think there's always a better card unless you are at the very top of competitive.
So you might as well pay them directly for it rather than your LGS.
Hey, look, just on a side note, actually, I was looking at one of these Dance of the Months, which I don't know if you guys ever played with Dance of the Months, but I love that card. That is a great, it's a great card, and I think
there's reason to not have that in the pre-con though, isn't it? Like a 20p card.
It's probably not a lot of money. Probably not a lot of money, but I think it's a good card. I think it's in an artifacts deck. I think it's a really nice little finisher. Actually, you've got to have good money.
Let's flip it, right? What if all those cards are in the pre-con already, and they offered this set as an upgrade to just as an aesthetic upgrade? Would that be more palatable?
That would, yeah, 100%. I think that's what Secret Lair is designed for.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Yep, I 100% agree with that. Yeah, look, as much as I've called you out for being a cynical old goat, Dom, I actually agree with you because let's be honest, that's exactly what it is. We're gonna sell you a product, but then we're going to sell you another product that's going to make the original product a little bit better. Like, I totally get it.
A product that they've already stated. By doing this, they're saying this is an incomplete product, but if you buy this, you will complete the product.
Yeah, I totally get that.
It's upselling, isn't it? It's a classic sales pitch, you know.
So it's like the car salesman is selling you carpets.
It's like the cream that you put on your shoes that the shoe salesman's trying to sell you. He's got a nice little horsehair brush for it as well. He's, it's only a quick. Yeah.
It's like when you go buy a car, these features are locked, but you can pay this money. You now go to your LGS, buy the deck, and you'll be like, I'll have it in level 2, and they'll hand you a pouch of cards.
Exactly.
In 20 years, when all magic cards are like a little hologram that shows the creature and everything, but you'll have to pay £10 to activate it each time you play. That's the way it's going, right?
Oh, Dom.
You'll have to scan your credit card over each card as you play them for them to activate.
Oh, Dom, the cynicism's pouring out of you. Absolutely pouring out of you.
I think this is great. If people want these cards and can't get hold of them, by all means. And like I said, I would say the main positive for this is that you can get the pre-con at MSRP if you couldn't otherwise. And it's only $75. You get the pre-con and these 5 cards, which is probably honestly a fairly honest price. Honestly,
yeah.
I agree with you. I think really they should have kind of almost rounded it up. Like it comes in the box. Like here's the pre-con and here's the upgrades. I legitimately I like the art. I do. I like the art. I think there's some decent preprints. Are you getting maximum value out of them? Probably not. But equally, that's not what Secret Lairs are. Exactly what you were saying earlier, Dom. They're about a reskinned or a new art style version to your favorite cards. You know, there'll be cards that, you know, Dom, you and Dean might not really like or think twice about. And there's something that I like, a bit like Dance of the Month. So I really like Dance of the Month. Do you know what I mean? Well, yeah, that's okay. Do you know what I mean? And that's where it's really nice because it's reaching out to everyone. But, you know, as much as I'm teasing you for the cynicism, you are technically right. And I it's hard to argue against it, isn't it, Luke?
Yeah, I think if they were going to tailor it to be an exact upgrade pack for the commander, then why not do the 2 commanders for a start, do them in a fancy artwork.
Yeah, perfect.
So you've got something more unique, and even the tokens.
Yeah.
So you could have a good selection of cards, because at the end of the day, the cards are like, it's a 20p piece of cardboard. It's less than that. That's all it is. And then that way players will go, okay, so I bought this, but I've got the fancy artwork, I've got this, I've got that. I love this deck. It's going to be great. But I also do think adding 5 cards to a deck, especially a pre-con, you need to do more than that. And I think risk of selling people this idea that you put these 5 cards in, your deck's going to be great. When at the end of the day, your mana base still might be bad. You might have an interaction. But going back to what Don was saying, some of my fondest memories of Magic, right, were going into my local LGS, shout out Highlander Games Dundee, and we would go through the boxes. You'd have like a
Yeah.
deck idea. Okay,
Yep.
yeah. So and I know the pandemic kind of shut that down and everything's online and digitized, but we'd spend hours going to the boxes. You get the artifact one, you'd be like, oh, cool, Fist of the Suns. I've got a 5-color deck. That might go in something. And you'd end up with a pile like this big. And it would only be like maybe a fiver because it was just like random chaff and things. And you would get talking to the shop owner, and then you could potentially trade. And I've seen that happen. But now it's very much you all buy online or you open in a pack. And I think we've lost something there because rummaging through the boxes to find a card that you need or uh, it was great. It made the deck feel more personal as well because you physically found these cards, you've then built it, and then you've played it, that night, you've sleeved it up, you've played it, at the kitchen table, and it's like, oh, that card was great. I'm really glad I found that card. That card kind of opened my deck up. So I do think Hasbro need to support the LGSs more. I think remote selling to Walmart and other places is detrimental to the LGS.
We had our owner of our LGS, Matt, shout out to Langdon Games, actually come on the podcast and have this conversation with him. Because I had a little conversation with him about this and I was like, we've got to get you on because I think having an LGS owner's perspective is really, really good. And this is something he actually sort of said, like the support there needs to be more support. Me personally, I actually kind of half think Secret Lairs should be sold through LGSs, get people to go through those doors, all that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, it's probably been over a year now, but Langdon they sold all their singles because what was effectively happening is that they had thousands of cards sitting there. And what would happen is people would call through, oh, we've got a list of cards we're after. Great, what you're after. 15 cards, fantastic. It's solid 20, 30 minutes to pull all these cards apart. Yeah. And what's the total amount? £3.62. And you sit in there and it's like, that is not, you cannot, you're not, you're just, it just does not add up. And the problem is card market, as good as it is, has almost kind of killed, not killed it off, but definitely put a lot of pressure on. I personally, I'm exactly the same as you, Luke. I loved going into LGSs. I love flicking through cards. It's something I would always do. Like, so tomorrow will be a Wednesday. We're recording on Tuesday. That's normally the Commander night I go and play. If I was stepping out, if I got knocked out of a game early, I'd go flick through cards. And they'd have the set boxes there. Fine, I may look through them. But they have the Commander staples box. And they have like the juicy sort of sweet ones, the ones that are worth a sort of bit of money. I'd love flicking through them. And, I'm going to upgrade this. And, I need this card actually, and blah, blah, blah. And I think it's a real loss. I know why LGSs have stopped doing it, and I think a lot more LGSs will start heading that direction, which I think is a crying shame. Because you hit the nail on the head there, Luke. It has fundamentally, something has changed, and it's changed the way our LGSs are. And I miss it. I truly do miss it. And I hope your LGS doesn't give it up neither. But honestly, it's a real loss. I really do. But I also understand why they don't do it as well. I get it. I do understand.
Yeah, of course.
They are a business at the end of the day. When you're going into trade, they are giving you a percentage trade, depending on whether it's a direct credit trade or cash trade. I don't know the numbers, but they cannot compete when someone's going in there expecting. You're going to have to give them at least 20% off to then turn it round in your shop to even look at making profit. And I know there's an argument. It's only it's a 2 pence bit of cardboard, but it's not. Really, it's easy to say that, but it's not. And when someone's going over like, okay, well, you're going to give me £7.50 for this trading value, but I can go into card market and I can sell it for £10 because it's the going rate. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I get it. I understand it. I do think it's a crying shame because I really miss that. And I think maybe that's partly why in our LGS we're not seeing more trades because there's not those singles around as much. Maybe, I don't know. Your thoughts on that, Dom?
I think people still bring their res folders.
Yeah,
I know.
you're right.
They're about to start. They might have already started making the Commander events into a bit more gamified, so you get some promo packs and stuff.
Yeah, they
pay a small fee.
Yeah, they are starting that.
Yeah. Great idea, honestly. And you can take your res folder along.
Yeah,
there's nothing stopping you.
No. I think
It's just what
it
I
needs.
think.
Gone.
It's time is maybe at a premium as well
Yeah,
when
no.
you've gone to a place, you want to play games, you want to have fun, and actually someone's seen a card in your folder that they want. Say it's worth £20. Say you've looked it up on Card Market, trollolol, and it's worth £20.
Yeah.
And you're looking through their folder, and they've got absolutely nothing you want, and it's
Yeah.
taken half an hour. Suddenly, you just, sorry, I'm going to have to hang on to it, or need to get another game in, kind of thing. So it's also time is often at a premium these days as well.
Yep,
Because
that
it comes down to people's
No, it
schedules.
is.
I think that's a very, very valid point. We all live busy lives. We all work very, very hard to afford us the time to go play our hobbies and to afford the cards for our hobbies. I think you make an absolutely fantastic point there. I really, really do. I think that is a key point, in fact. So, yeah, 100%. Or the amount of times where someone's took their binder. So next time, because you missed them, you took your binder, they weren't there, and you're lugging extra stuff around, or space you could fit a few more decks in, or something like that. Like, you make a really valid point. I think that's a fantastic point here. Look, just to summarize on these upgraded secret layers, Dom, I don't even need to ask you because I can see the cynicism pouring from your eyeballs. But Luke, go on, just summarize. Are your thoughts on this?
I think some of the cards are fine. I think if you want a nice artwork Crucible Layers, Crucible of Worlds rather, it's a good gateway into that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's really going to make the deck that much better. So I honestly don't think it's doing what it's advertised to do. But the artwork's nice. The price point, as Dom said, with the deck, it's reasonable.
I have to step in there. I'm going to slightly disagree with you there, because any positive upgrade, small or minor, will increase it and make it better. I'm just going to try and sweep some of this cynicism to one side, just so we can have an impartial sort of thing. But I take your point.
Yeah,
Alex,
I was going to say,
you are right.
We're talking about. So, yeah, in, say, one of our commander, you add a single card, you might have multiple ways to search for or bring out that card.
Yes.
Immediately, that is a huge, massive upgrade. Whereas actually in a pre-con, Crucible of Worlds, maybe in this pre-con, if you don't draw it, it's just sat in the 99, not doing any good.
Yep.
So it's definitely, because it's a pre-con upgrade. I would say though, modern pre-cons are excellent. Honestly,
I
they're
agree.
a lot more synergistic than they used to be. I think Crucible of Worlds belongs in any lands deck. They obviously just couldn't quite bring themselves to put it in their pre-con.
Yeah. You had to finish it off like that, didn't you? It's that last little jab.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, it's about their reprint equity. It would massively reduce the value of that card, so they want that for themselves by selling it directly at the end of the day.
Sure. Yeah.
Put it in their pre-con,
the
card halves in value. By selling it directly,
Yep.
it might not even change the value because you're paying a premium for it.
I cannot argue that point, because I agree with you. As much as I am still enjoying teasing you for your cynicism, I do agree with you. That is the business model and the way it kind of works. It really does. So I totally get that. Okay, we're gonna start to wrap up here, but I want to finish off by asking quite a big question here, and this could open up a bigger conversation, and we could end up spending another hour chatting about this. But I want to keep this nice and condensed. After everything we've just chatted about, particularly at the beginning, we've been talking about the Universes Beyond and things like that. I'm going to throw you under the bus here, Luke, and I'm going to come to you. I'm going to say to you, do you think there is a bit too much product being released and a bit too much reliance on Universes Beyond moving forward? Or are you happy? Do you think this balance is perfectly good? Do you feel like we're having good amounts of sets? The amount of product that's coming out is just sweet. It's just perfect for you. Do you want to see more? Like just try and summarize on that. I know it's a big point, but
I mean, if it's up to me, Alex, I'd have a new set every month. I don't think we get enough product.
Can you smell that? Dom? Can you smell that? That smells like bullshit, man.
I want to spend every hour of my week looking at new Magic promos.
Yeah, direct debit straight to straight to Hasbro. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. I want
to. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think the volume of product is too much for someone who's already invested in the game. So as we're all invested, we're all interested. Oh, spoiler season, leak, pre-release, all this kind of stuff. If you're new to Magic and say you just found out about Final Fantasy and that's all you're interested in, it's great. It's like, oh, Final Fantasy, fantastic. I don't care about Bloomberg. I don't care about Aether Drift or Edge of Eternity. I care about Final Fantasy. Oh, maybe I like Avatar as well. So that's 2 sets. But for us
no one
who
cared about Aether Drift.
I liked Aether Drift.
I thought some of the artwork and some cards for Aether Drift were pretty cool, but
Me too.
it didn't hit quite right for me. But no, I think there's too much. I think it burns you out, and I've noticed that with my deck building. Like I see people and they see a new card pro mode and they're like, "Oh, I must build that," and then they built a list and they're building it and they're testing on Spell Table, and I'm like 3 sets behind. I mean, at the moment, I'm building the Mirko Precon Demir deck from Carla, which we're talking about quality of precons. But some great cards in there, Toxic Deluge, things like that. So some great cards.
Massacre one.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was going through it and I was like, oh, it's quite tasty. I got it. Anyway, I think there's too much, but I don't think it'll slow down because I think Magic needs to have that churning, and as soon as it does slow down, then I think there's going to be alarm bells like, well, why is it slowed down? What's happened? Have we killed the golden goose? What's the next universes beyond? How does this look in 10 years' time, kind of thing? But at the moment, yeah, too much.
Tom?
I would say the golden goose is lying. Its belly has been sliced open, and we are plucking out the universes beyond golden eggs from its rotten belly.
Stopping it with corn.
Oh, Dom, you are savage tonight. There's no whole bars of you tonight, is there? Christ.
No. I think let me quote you from the. So I think we said earlier. Oh, I've lost the website now.
But I tell you, if you want to find it, I can talk about how I feel about it. If you want to go find it,
it's fine. I'll
paraphrase it.
Hasbro just had their earnings call, and the statement that was made was that it took Lord of the Rings 6 months to generate $200 million worth of revenue, and that Final Fantasy achieved that in 1 day on pre-order, which is, to me, that is absolute insanity. And the part of that statement was they actually, as someone from a printing background, as we chatted about earlier, it said in that same statement they increased the print run on Final Fantasy 4 times, and it is very, very high, double digits more than any other set they've printed. Wow. So that volume is immense, and they've said, whilst Lord of the Rings achieved this amount in 22 or whenever it was, they are continuing to sell that product, and they expect the same for Final Fantasy. So it will keep on increasing. So it just goes to show if you hit the correct IP, which is obviously what they're attempting, what's coming up, the sky's the limit, honestly. And they are Hasbro's lifeline. Without this extra revenue, Hasbro's going to implode. So it's going to continue happening. But in the same vein, I think when the Universes Beyond set hits that you are a fan of, there's honestly nothing better in terms, it's a game you love playing. Suddenly you see all these characters that you love.
With an IP you love, yeah.
Exactly. And as someone who was initially absolutely against Universe Beyond, suddenly they came out with a Warhammer 40,000 deck. So I was like, oh, this is actually the best thing ever. And
you're a hypocrite too, Dom.
Yeah, Fallout again. I love Fallout IP, and I'm sure there'll be another one that catches my attention in the same way that they did in the future. So yes, there is way too much. Up to six standard sets a year is too much to keep up with for your average player, honestly. And the sheer amount of bans they had to do, it's almost certainly going to increase because of the card pool, and the fact that a lot of these sets were not designed for standard initially is also part of the problem. I expect that to smooth out as we move forward.
Yeah.
Some of these sets going forward now that they've made that decision. But obviously, we are still seeing the back end of that with Final Fantasy. Obviously, initially, it was designed presumably to be similar to Lord of the Rings, a straight to modern set. So some of these cards come in pretty hot.
Hot, yeah.
Yeah. Especially Tifa.
Yeah, you made a good point about the universes beyond, because see, when they announced The Walking Dead big secret layer, I was so against it. I was like, oh, why are we having this in Magic? But then like Warhammer, I'm all over it. And then Lord of the Rings, D&D, I'm just
I think
more.
I think that the thing that I was very similar. I mean, I wouldn't say I was against it. So the one thing I think that The Walking Dead did do right eventually is they reprinted into a universe of Magic, and I still feel like that in the perfect world, that's how I'd like universes to be. I'd like it to be they are reskins of cards. So if you are a SpongeBob fan, if you are a Fortnite fan, you can play these cards that you want to, and it's absolutely fine. But it doesn't always have to affect someone that, I'm not going to say like hates or anything like that. It doesn't want to engage with it or anything like that. It gives that sort of option, but to me, it kind of keeps it all together. But
that will never happen for these sets.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. It will never happen for these sets.
Yeah, because of the way these IPs are working.
Yeah. Maybe there's some generic cards they can reprint with different art, but obviously these characters.
It's not
happening. But also, just to one more point, there's also the licensing issue is huge, because you've got the Spider-Man set is coming on. It's not coming to digital.
Yeah.
So they do not have the licensing to produce this in digital. So on Arena, Spider-Man won't be on Arena. It'll be, Wilhelm the Weber or whatever. Some crazy universe within version that no one knows what the hell's happening.
It'll be a spider sheep, not a pig.
And that's huge. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's gonna cause a lot of confusion though, isn't it?
Definitely is. I think it might be because of the nature of the Spider-Man set, because it was going to be that small set. They weren't going to put it on Arena at all. They've obviously decided that now it is being printed in the standard. It is a requirement that it has to be an Arena.
That's a bit of a
it's obviously it was just never part of their original agreement with Marvel, which is fine. But maybe I can't see them honestly having Thor, riding around on Arena either, right? These licenses have an expiry date, and
of course,
you're probably never going to see Thor swinging his hammer around on Arena.
Do you think?
Good point.
Sorry, do you think that because they've created the artwork, essentially a complete new set, that will get that released in paper as well when the license expires, so you can have those cards, but they won't be Spider-Man?
That's interesting, because the way that the reskin cards work is they're just the same set number, so actually you could potentially do that.
So I just want to step
probably
in here.
The only way you would ever get a universe within version of Spider-Man.
I just want to step in here because this makes a really valid point. Because what I was going to say in response to what you're going to say is that it's not just the IP. There's unique abilities. So you can't use the word like Astartes for like in the Warhammer version, sort of effectively. So what becomes a bit of an issue here is that these reprints are fine, but you're effectively going to have a new card that's in the cover. So instead of having Calgar that creates 2 Astartes tokens, you're going to have Calgar's foreign version that's Cougar that doesn't create a
Legion, the French foreign Legion.
Exactly. But it's not going to create Astartes tokens. It's going to create a Star 2. Yeah, exactly. So, but all joking aside, it's not just the IP. There is going to be, well, it is the IP, but the mechanics are then tied to these IPs.
The keywords.
Exactly. And this is where it's going to become a bit of a problem. So, you're dead right. Like reprinting these sets as a in-universe set sounds great, but actually there's still issues unless they effectively have another mechanic that's basically that creates a token instead of it being an Astartes token. What's Astartes? It's 3/3, isn't it? 3/3 soldier.
2/2.
2/2. There you go.
Vigilant.
Yeah, with vigilance, that they end up effectively creating another type that is still a 2/2 with vigilance. So, but do you see what I mean? That's a lot of work to work around
The
it.
creature types are a huge problem. So you got the Tyranids and Necro.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Countdown would be
You would just have an FAQ and they'll create a new creature type called whatever, and they'll just say all Tyranids count as blah blah blah.
Yeah,
that's the only way around it, but it just creates a huge mess where you've got
muddying the waters again. Yeah,
have text to them that don't mean anything, this kind of thing. So that's a whole other issue, isn't it? So they don't like doing functional errata at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah, I'm gonna ask one more question. Nice short answer from both of you. I'll start with Dom this time because there's a few under the bus last time, Luke.
You did.
Nice and short before we finish off. Are we going to start seeing burnout within Magic the Gathering that's going to turn players off from fully engaging in all the products that is available? Do you think that's happening now, or do you think it's going to happen, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think sometimes you just have to skip a set. I haven't bought any of Edge of Eternities. I probably won't end up opening any of it. Maybe a couple of play boosters. I tried to pre-order some Tarkir stuff. It got cancelled, sold out. It was underprinted because of Final Fantasy. I tried to pre-order some Final Fantasy stuff. All the pre-orders got cancelled except one. It's hard to get hold of these cards. I don't think sometimes you're just not going to have a choice. You won't even be able to get these products if you want them. That goes to show the demand is there. They need to do something about the printing volumes.
100%. 100%. Luke, same question, man. Do you think Magic the Gathering players are either burning out or heading towards a burnout?
I think people who are invested, I suppose, like us who do content, absolutely burn out. Yeah. I'll say, spoiler season, you get an update on Blue Sky or X or whatever, it comes up and it's like new card. This is happening. Someone said this about this. Someone previewing a card. So yeah, but I do think potentially more casual players that aren't can just dip in and pick what they want. And I'm envious of that in a way because I feel that we can't do that because you need to keep yourself appraised because it works around content and reactions and things like that. So yeah, it just really disheartens me when I listen to Dom and he pre-ordered multiple sets and basically got one of it. I think that is absolutely for this day and age for a product that is printed. This isn't an item that's already produced and it's like, here you are, this is all we've got. This is printed. There's pre-orders in, and the fact they've not printed enough, or potentially they did, but the distribution side failed them. They didn't go to whoever Dom ordered it from. Maybe if Dom ordered it from Amazon or whatever, it would have come. But Dom supporting his LGS like a fool. No, I joke. But
that's the point.
you're definitely seeing that. You're seeing people even on online social media platforms with cases of collector booster boxes, and you hear people that I couldn't get one. So I do think that needs to change. But I'm burnt out a little bit by it, but I just kind of engage with what I enjoy, and I build what I enjoy, and I play with people that I enjoy playing with. So you offset it that way. It doesn't feel,
I think,
like a chore.
That's absolutely spot on. I just want to come on to a very quick point because actually something I heard in Langdon while I was in there actually was there were shops in town that had nothing to do with trading cards or even games that were being offered Final Fantasy stock to sell next to their tills. And one of them particularly, the example I heard was like a sweet shop. And you sit there and you think, that's disgusting. Because I tell you what, actually why it was doubly disgusting is because that person approached Langdon and sort of said, do you want to buy our stock at basically effectively an inflated price? Thankfully, Matt was decent enough to play, absolutely not. I said, I'm quite happy to give you the price, the distribution price, but I'm not paying markup price to it. How bad is that? How bad is that? I mean, that's another level of. Yeah, I don't even know what to call that.
Just saying, I should have pre-ordered from the sweet shop.
Yeah, you would have got it. How bad is that, though?
At random shops.
Yeah. How bad is that? Absolutely terrible. But yeah, look, just to echo what you were just sort of saying there, Luke. I mean, look, we've had some time off. Like me and Dom were obviously away on holiday. I've had some personal stuff going on as well. I'm going to be honest with you. I've spoke to a few other content creators as well. I have suffered from burnout, and I've had to step away from it. And look, my interactions, all that sort of stuff, has suffered for it. But it's something that I needed to do. I felt like it was just getting to the point where it was a bit unmanageable. Like all you were reading, there was as big as Final Fantasy was, there was a lot of negativity around it. And I've sort of stated beforehand, I wasn't that interested in it in the first place. I had to just completely step away from it and just take a month and a bit off and just be like, do you know what? I'm going to take some breaths outside of. I'm going to go play my decks with my friends, and the cards I'm going to get are the cards that I'm interested in and will be quality cards to upgrade to it. I echo completely what you've sort of said. And I know I know Pleasant Commodity put up a video that was basically echoing this as well. And I think a lot of content creators are. It is, I tell you what, I'm not a full-time content creator, but I feel for those guys. Imagine having to commentate on every single set, every single release, everything that's going around.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's bad enough at the level that we're at. Do you know what I mean? It's just, boo-hoo these guys. But I feel for
to
them.
do that. I have plenty of time to do that if I was doing it full time.
Yeah, I know, but the problem is when you're doing it full time and burnout hits and you feel like you've got to take a month out, that's a very different scenario. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
When
it's something you enjoy and it's your hobby as well, and then it starts to feel
very different.
It's also your job. It's a whole different dynamic.
I have literally had that in my industry. I started off working in a job that was my hobby, and I'll put my hands up. It ruined the hobby for me. I still enjoy doing, what I do. It transformed into the job I do now, and I love my job. Don't get me wrong, but it ruined a hobby for me. It really did, and I would always be concerned that could be the case. But I think there's a lot of burnout. But I think more importantly, when you're getting that burnout in the player base, that's telling you something, isn't it?
Well, there's new players to replace, though, isn't there? That's the way it is.
Yeah.
But it was like I was saying, I don't know if
yeah. I mean, you're not the target demographic anymore. It's expansion, new players, right?
But I don't know if we recorded this comment or whether I said this pre-recording. But it doesn't matter whether you have 200 million new players. But if those 200 million, if only 1 million of them stick around to continue to buy into the next set, I know that it's going to be rinse and repeat. But surely
this is your best plan, though, because you're going to get another 200 million from Spider-Man that aren't interested in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, but what happens?
So that is churn.
What happens? Let's just say there's 100 premium IPs, and you've milked it, or is the way that you've put it, you've plucked all those golden eggs out of that poor old goose that's been sat there. Poor old Donald's, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean?
The goose deserve better.
Yeah, exactly. But once when you get to that point, Don, what do you do?
Food token.
You just make another food token, exactly. But in all seriousness, but there's going to be a ceiling. And what about when you don't get past that ceiling? What then happens moving forward?
I think
yeah.
Sorry, Don. Go on, yeah.
I was going to say, well, the game. You have to just take into account you're not going to get your infinite growth for your shareholders, which obviously will never happen as you're part of keeping a huge corporation afloat that makes a loss every quarter, which would be a huge loss if you weren't churning out all these extra products. There is no end to the conveyor belt. It is up to the sky until it snaps, and then we all come tumbling down.
That is foreboding.
I mean, I'm going to go on a limb. I feel like that conveyor belt is already pretty stressed. I think we're closer to that snapping than you think it is.
We've got a good few years of IPs that can keep this going.
Yeah, I mean,
Marvel is huge. Marvel is going to be very interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah,
there's endless possibilities there. So you say we've got 2 years of Marvel, but actually, if it does well enough, they'll presumably renew that contract or extend it, and then we'll get 10 years of Marvel. There's a lot. And yeah, like you say, they might not do a crossover with DC, but
They could do a DC one, yeah.
you could do
I think we will.
DC.
I
Unless it's one of them
a secret layer.
that they wouldn't do DC for 5 years. So it might be in 5 years' time. But by then, the DC cinematic universe will be in full swing.
Excellent. Okay, look, we've talked about a lot of big topics there, and unfortunately, all of them seem to overshadow the latest set, which is Edge of Eternity, which I generally I am really enjoying watching. But I think that's part of the bigger problem. But anyway, we're going to wrap this up. We've been rambling for far too long. There's been lots of old men shouting at clouds, myself being the main protagonist of this. There's been lots of cynicism as well. Yeah, Dom. But anyway.
Realism, I would say.
Well, healthy bit of both. Healthy bit of both, I think.
Focus.
Look, in all seriousness, I think there's frustrations on all levels, from content creators, I think from player bases, and I think it is something that, it's going to come to, I think it's going to come to a head, and I hope nothing too bad happens and we can still end up enjoying the game that we all love. That's what I hope moving forward. Anyway, on that more positive note, we're going to end the podcast here. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for watching if you've been watching on the YouTubes. As always, any interactions, likes, shares, comments, subscribe and all that sort of stuff is amazing. It helps us build. It helps us be able to do more. But I want to ask the question, what do you guys think about this whole scenario? We'd love to hear your feedback. What do you think? Is this burnout just something because we keep reading about it on the internet, or is it something that actually is true things? Do you know people in real life that are like, I just can't face it. I can't even walk into my LGS. I can't even play with my friends because I'm sick and tired of these conversations, or whatever it may be. Or is this a figment of our imaginations? Or does it change the people that sit around the tabletop week in, week out and play with the same people? Maybe it doesn't affect them. Let's hear you in the comments. We'd love to hear you in the comments. And as always, we'd love to hear any comments about what you want us to discuss next. Luke, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Absolutely loved it. Thank you so much for stepping in, and I look forward to having you back on at some time again soon. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you. Some really good discussions. Excellent. And definitely going to have to get Dean on now. 100%. There's no excuse in that. No, you need to. Yeah, 100%. I don't settle it. I've been wanting to get Dean on for a while. I think Dean's, I love Dean. He's a really interesting character. Yeah, it's top draw. Yeah, 100%. Dom, anything else before we wrap up? Yeah, I was going to say, your sign-off sounded quite professional. Careful now. Careful. I could always mess it up. Yeah, very good. Very good. I would say, go out, play the set. Let us know what you think. And try and forget about Spiderman diving in through your window and webbing you or something. 100%. 100% agree with that. I do want to just quickly discuss one thing, because it involves myself and Dom. Oh, my goodness. And also... Sneaky bit of information. Luke may be involved in a little bit of this as well, but just quickly, because I don't have enough projects on my hand, I have started a recent other project, a variety gaming channel called Really Pretty Gaming. I'd love you guys to go check it out. Go get involved. Myself and Dom there's already a series on there, The Legends of Las Santos. We've had an absolute blast playing this. Luke's been involved a little bit with some upcoming episodes as well, and we've all had an absolute blast. I think it's very, very good fun, and it's very, very good viewing. So I do just ask, please go check it out if you're interested. Maybe subscribe and show those videos some loves. Anyway, we are a Magic the Gathering podcast, so we're going to sign off with a Magic the Gathering way. There'll be a Grand Theft Auto secret lair when number 6 comes out. You could at least have some vehicles. Can you imagine? And there's plenty of crimes to be committed. Well, nothing fixes burnout like blowing up some police helicopters, you know? Exactly. The only thing that's going to be burning out is the wheels on my criminal enterprise cars. So I love this. We've got a crossover now between the gaming and the podcast and the MTG. It's all encompassing. It's Ether Drift all over again. Exactly. I love this. Absolutely love it. Guys, for watching and listening, thank you so much. Luke, again, thank you very much. Dom, you're a legend as always, and we'll catch up soon. Thank you for listening, guys, and we'll see you in the next podcast. See you later. As all. Bye. See you later. Bye.